Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be changing the battery in a Vauxhall Astra, and like most things that I seem to turn my hand to, it doesn't look like it's going to be the most simple, but here goes. Now before you go about disconnecting the existing battery, it's a good idea to make sure you've got either your radio code to hand for when you reconnect it, or make sure that your car doesn't need you to have the radio code if it's already got other security features. That means you don't need a code, otherwise you might not be able to use your radio once you've put the new battery in. So here is the existing battery. We've got the negative terminal down here and the positive is under this little clip. And there's some other connections in here that we're going to have to take off. So first of all, we need to take off this bracket that's keeping the battery in. It's just a little bolt in here that we just need to take off. So I've got a little socket set here just to get that going, and then just unscrew the rest of that. Doing my best not to lose the little nut down the engine panel. There we go, and then once that's out, it just unhooks underneath here, and that's that bit out. So now we can get at the battery. So first I'm going to disconnect the negative terminal. So again, just the little socket in there, and then unscrew that. Again, taking care not to drop it down the engine panel, and then that should just lift off once it's been loosened enough. There we go, and then just pop that to one side. So now the retaining bracket's off, all we need to do is just take off these three nuts here. I've already loosened them, just using a 13 spanner there. So I've taken those off, and we'll just take off those and put them to one side. And now once those nuts are off, we can just lift these metal plates up and put them to one side. They should just pull off fairly simply. And once those are off, all you need is a flathead screwdriver just to pop down the sides, and there's just a little plastic clip on both sides of here. So a couple of those, and then that just lifts off and you can move that out of place. And then with that moved out of the way, you can just take off the positive terminal, oops, wrong way. And then put that to one side because you'll need it once the new battery's in place. So just pop that off there. And then we'll put that to one side because we'll need that shortly. Okay, now that that's done, you will need to just slide out this and move that to one side. And this is the slightly tricky part because you need to move this retaining clip in order to get the battery out. Now, you will need a large screwdriver. So down here there is a metal hook, there's a gap in it there. So if you push your screwdriver in, the inside bit will push back. You can bend that out slightly and then you'll be able to slide out this retaining clip. And then with that clip taken out, the battery should, with a little bit of care, just lift out, allowing you to put the new one in its place. And then with the new battery in place, it's just a case of doing the reverse to connect it all back together again. Tricky with one hand. Let's pop that in there. And we'll just push that back in. to hold that in place. And then we'll do exactly the same with the other bits and pieces, just to clip it all and hold it back together. Pop that in there, take that off, and take that off. Put those to one side. Let's put this back on there. Just push those down and those plastic clips should clip on both sides. Open that back up and then we'll pop the metal caps back on. And hopefully the heavens have just opened while I've started doing this, so we'll pop that back on the positive terminal. And we'll put the two metal plates back on here. Let's put those on. So just tighten this up. Do it. And then pop these three back on here, not forgetting that cable into there. I shall get the spanner back to tighten those up, and then we'll add the negative terminal and we're all done. And there we have it. New battery fitted, negative terminal connected, positive terminal connected, nuts and bolts all on here. So we'll fit that cover back down. And the retaining bar is in there so the battery doesn't slide about, and we put the new battery clip in there. So everything else is reconnected, all done, and we're ready to go. So there we have it. Another DIY project, more labour costs saved. And that was taking me about 20 minutes, half an hour to do that all in, along with taking the video as well, so you could do it probably a little bit quicker than that. I used a website called Tayna, T-A-Y-N-A, to source my batteries. Wasn't quite sure which one I needed. I did a couple of searches on their website based on the spec of the old battery and the make and model of the car and the registration number, and it came up with a couple of different suggestions, neither of which matched what was in there. So I emailed them and they came back to me literally within minutes, and they had 4 or 5 different options of batteries that were suitable for this, varying prices, so you can choose which one you want. So I'd highly recommend them. Other providers are available. I looked at the likes of Eurocar Parts and Halfords as well. I just went with Tayna because I got the best service from them, and there we go, another one done. I think a couple of key points to remember: check whether you need a radio code beforehand, so you don't lose the facility of your car radio, and wear some rubber gloves for when you're doing it, just to try and avoid shocks. The other thing is to disconnect the negative terminal first and then disconnect the positive, and then when you're setting it back up again, reconnect the positive and then reconnect the negative. Happy to answer any questions if you've got anything. Otherwise, see you on the next video.